In this video, we're going to be breaking down this fantastic garden enclosure that was sent in by our customer, Don. This is made entirely out of 3/4 inch EMT conduit, which you can find off the shelf at Lowe's or Home Depot, and it's connected together with maker pipe connectors, which we manufacture and ship here in South Carolina. And this is a really great garden enclosure. This is the main frame here, and it's fantastic. We really only have a couple of photos, but that's okay, because this is really awesome and just a really great build. And whenever I talk about builds like this or think about how I would build them, like, whenever I do these breakdowns, I try to think about you guys wanting to recreate this and building it. And oftentimes I think about how I would put this together in kind of the order of operations, if you will, of how I would put this together. In this particular case, this is basically just a big rectangle, and I would start with that rectangle first. I'm actually going to do the verticals in different colors here. So let's see, we'll do the horizontals first. So you got this down here, this main rectangle, and then you've got in the corners, you've got 4 verticals that go up to the top of the frame. And then at the very top, you've got a very similar rectangle that's down below, but a very interesting technique, which I really love and I think is really smart in this build, and I think for a lot of builds. So definitely want to highlight that, but can't really see because of all the netting up here. But it's a very similar frame on top that's on the bottom for the horizontal for the rectangle. And the main connector that's used for this kind of thing is down here in the corner. This is the 90-degree connector, and basically allows you to have that vertical support pipe that runs continuously through the connector, and then you've got the 2 pieces that terminate and come out of the side of it, which is exactly what he did. He's got, in the corners, he's got a 90-degree connector in all 4 corners down here to make this main rectangular shape on the bottom. And then the verticals that are going up are connected in the same way up top, except what I really love about this is the 90-degree connector is flipped over. So as I just said, on the bottom, you've got the vertical that goes all the way through, and then the 2 pieces that come out at a 90-degree angle, something like that, as we saw down low. Well, instead of the vertical running continuously through it, he's got the horizontal piece running continuously through it, as you can see there. So that means this roof is overhanging a little bit, and it's still a rectangle at the top, but it's just overhanging. The bottom is a box and is right on top of the wooden garden box down here, but the top, this overhangs a bit. And he was able to accomplish that by flipping over the 90-degree connector and having that horizontal piece run continuously through it. And then he's using the maker pipe T connector to grab onto that vertical, and then that's how he's completing the rectangle, because this piece, this horizontal piece, goes all the way to the other side, and then there's another T connector on the other side to complete this rectangle here as well. So basically it's still a large rectangle on top. It's just a really creative technique, which is flipping over that 90 to allow this horizontal piece to run continuously through the 90-degree connector, and he's still making a rectangle, just in a different way, where the vertical is stopping in the connector and terminating inside, as opposed to running continuously through it, which is normally how we see the 90, but of course you can use it in either way, depending on your project. So that's really how the top rectangle is made. It's made to overhang, so it runs continuously through the 90s, and then comes to the front, and then the T connector in the corners is how it's completed, which is really cool. And the T connector makes the 90-degree connection similar to the 90-degree connector, except it's only 2 pipes. So you'd use it in this scenario for rectangles that are 2-dimensional, just like a flat 2-dimensional rectangle, like an elbow like that, instead of this third piece that turns this into a corner kind of box connection. The T connector is just 2 pipes joining together. So that's pretty much the main frame, as we can see here. And then basically he used more of those T connectors because the top half of the T allows pipes to run continuously through it. He basically grabbed onto the horizontal bar with a T connector and then sent some verticals down, and he was able to do this, or wanted to do this, to create these gates on the front here, which is really fantastic. So that T connector grabs onto the horizontal pipe and then sends a pipe down low. Same thing happens over here 2 more times, and then these are all T connectors that are accomplishing that same. He did the same thing over here as well. T connectors are accomplishing that design there. And basically what this allowed him to do is create frameworks for the doors, because then he got T connectors, grabbed onto the verticals, and then added these horizontal pieces and basically framed in the doors here. as we can see, here's the same thing here. It's just kind of mirrored on this other side as well, the T-connector. So he made this entire kind of rectangular frame here that is framing out the door. So then all he had to do is add the doors to this, and all he did to do that, like I said, just T-connectors making flat two-dimensional rectangles. That's how he made the doors. You'll see here that there is a two-dimensional rectangle. It's a door with just 4 pieces of conduit. Here, let's do a different color here. We're getting a lot of pipes in here now. Basically, it's just one big rectangle that is built perfectly inside of this framework that he made. And then again, he's just using T-connectors in the corners of the door to join those 4 pipes together and create this rectangular door. And then he added 45-degree angled bracing, as you can see there, just to add some reinforcement to the door. Always a good idea, and just reinforces everything there. And then to attach the doors to the framework, he used the hinges from Billy that we sell on the website. I'll link those down below, and link the videos that we've done on those and the videos that Billy has done if you want more information. But those are 3D printed. We can see there he's got those bolted, just one hinge at the top, one hinge on the bottom, and that allows him to open the door. And we can't really see because I've drawn all over these now, but the gate latch is there as well, and that's also 3D printed from Billy from Northwoods Engineer. But that's really the main frame and the 2 doors. And then we can see halfway up, he's added another rung around the whole frame. I don't know if he did this earlier on or if he just did this later to add more support, but it's really simple. Just T-connectors there to add the horizontal piece between the 2 door frames. And then he's got this horizontal piece here, this one that runs front to back, and then this one that runs all the way from one side of the frame to the other on the back side of the frame. And same thing here. So then this is T-connector, and then we've got another 90 degree back there. Then that pipe goes all the way across, 90 degree, and then T-connector. And I'm pretty sure that is every piece of conduit and every connector accounted for. Again, this is 45-degree connector, and then the angled brace here, just mirrored on that side. But I'm pretty sure that's every piece of conduit accounted for. And I didn't really draw out the door on this side either, but like I said, it's just the same thing. But that's pretty much it. This looks kind of cool with all these markings on here, but hopefully you guys are able to follow along and see all the different connections there. But that's pretty much the main frame. And then, like I said, you could turn this into a greenhouse. You just get greenhouse plastic and some of the greenhouse plastic clips and snap those onto the framework and turn this into a greenhouse. It could function the same way. Or he just got some of the netting that you can get at Lowe's, Home Depot, different places like that. It's just plastic netting. I think, you can see he's got 2 different, I forget the dimension of the square there. He's got some really small ones and some really large ones, just depending on what you're trying to keep out. That's just secured to the frame with zip ties. And then here we can see a close-up of that 3D printed hinge from Billy. And then we can see the gate is slightly open here. And then something else, this framework is also secured to the wooden garden beds, and he did that with 2-hole straps, which are these things here, just made so you can kind of snap them on the conduit, and then you can put a screw through those 2 holes there into the garden bed. And that's how this whole thing is secured. I imagine he's probably got 10, 12, 20 of those around the bottom to support that there. And then I think on top of the frame, he added some sunshade, which is nice. And again, because he overhung the roof a couple of feet, then he's got that spread out nice, which I'm sure provides some nice shade to the plants from that Florida heat. But really cool. Hopefully you guys were able to follow along and kind of see how this thing is built in case you want to recreate it or kind of modify it for your own needs. But that's the beauty of building with conduit and connectors. You can customize things like this exactly how you need them. Thanks so much, Don, for sharing this build. We love seeing it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those down below in the comments, or you can comment on the post in the community forum on our website. If you like this video, consider leaving a like and consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.